Hello. We were discussing about managing business organization, environment. So we discussed about the external environment and how to identify the opportunities and threats, and about what you can do and what are the factors to be considered, what are the environmental sectors to be looked at. We discussed them in detail. So now we're going to move into the internal environment. So in internal environment, that means we discussed it's the environment within the organization, and the organization has a control on it. So from internal environment analysis, the organization can identify strengths and weaknesses. Strengths are the attributes of the person or company that is helpful to achieve the objectives of the organization. So any kind of a factor inside the organization, within the organization, then that supports to achieve the organizational objectives are strengths. But weaknesses are the negative side, where if there are factors which like harm achieving the organization's objective process, or harm or deteriorate or damage the objectives, so that is a weakness. So an organization has to identify these both strengths and weaknesses. It's really important in anywhere, any a business around the world, in any person in the world has these both sides, positive and negative, strengths and weaknesses. And why we identify this is we are to try to reduce or mitigate these weaknesses and enhance the strengths and gain a competitive advantage which cannot be imitated by the other companies. So there are three approaches: functional analysis, resource-based analysis, and the value chain analysis. In here, we will discuss especially with the functional analysis and the resource-based analysis. Functional analysis means analyzing the functions of the organization. So these are the basic 5 functions which we can identify in any kind of organization. But if it's kind of a particular organization of yours, if we select, so you can add or remove these functions. So that is human resources, marketing, and we can say distribution, and the production and operations, accounting and finance, and research and development. So these are the basic functions, but you can add or remove. So starting from HR, which is very much familiar to me and about this master of HRM. So you know HR is where it's about effective utilization of human resources at the end of the day to achieve the organizational goals and objectives. So the company, any company have basic HR policies, but starting from the recruitment until the employee's retirement, there are several practices or policies, functions or processes. So these are sometimes organization, this becomes strengths or weaknesses. How? Some organizations have recruitment policy, of transfer policies, but they don't have a proper performance evaluation policy. Then the company does not have a proper mechanism to evaluate the performance of the employees. So what happens is the organization or the top management or your head of the business has no any idea to evaluate the performance and to rate you. So then you can't guide or sometimes to give a direct feedback to that employee. There is no any formal way. That can be a weakness. So because of that, the companies can have proper HR policies starting from recruitment, hiring, induction, performance evaluation, and then if you find any lacking areas, guide them to have proper training and development programs. Then about especially a wage policy like a compensation policy, it's really important. When to pay, how to pay, what to pay, whom to pay. So it's really important to decide in a formal procedure and about the transfers, termination, discipline, grievance, everything. So these also, if you have proper policies, become a strength, and if you don't have proper policy, it becomes a weakness. So quality and quantity of HR, if you have proper people, it will support you to achieve the vision of the organization. But if you have excess amounts, like the things happened in Sri Lanka for electricity board, railway department, CTB, many other government organizations, they have excess amount of people. So what happens is that has become a weakness and a barrier to achieve the organizational goals, because the all earned earnings goes to pay the salaries of the employees, and the companies have no ability to make a profit. So that is about excess HR. Then there are lack of HR. If you don't have enough people to perform the uh, task and duties of an organization, obviously that's harm to achieve your vision. So that is because of that proper quantity of HR, as well as even though you have proper quantity, but if they don't have proper quality, then they won't be able to perform well. So you have people in the marketing department who don't have that much of expertise in marketing functions. Then what happens is they will not be able to do proper pricing, proper distribution, proper packaging, proper researching, nothing. So that will be a weakness, and at the end of the day, that will harm the organization. So that's motivation. Motivating people is really important. Joining for an organization, a new organization is a motivation. But if the employee doing the same job for a longer period of time, he'll starting to feel stagnated, and then about thinking of looking for another job then. Likewise, so the organization has to understand and use some motivational factors. Giving a small recognition can be a motivation. Incentives, pay, salary, welfare, benefits, obviously motivational factors, but still there are other non-monetary benefits like recognition, sometimes having get-togethers, that will become a relaxing environment and kind of a motivation to work more. Okay, then training and development, designing proper training and development, identifying the needs analysis, do a proper needs analysis and identify where people are lacking. That's really important, because most of the government organizations in Sri Lanka provide lots of training programs, but there's no any outcome. Why? There are training programs, but the weakness is where the government organization, sometimes private as well, but still they don't have identified the proper need for whom to train, to what to train. They like train for the sake of training, but that doesn't give an output to the organization. There is ample of budget, but still they don't give support. That those training programs have not been a strength, even though there are a lot of budget allocated to such training programs. That has become a weakness because there was no any proper identification of the need and for whom people. Then performance management, as I told you, like at least once a year, performance evaluation is important for both the organization as well as for the employee, because like for the name's sake, for merely doing a performance evaluation is bad. It's a weakness. Should be a proper mechanism to evaluate the performance with proper mechanisms, and then it is needed to communicate the employee the strengths weaknesses both, not only weaknesses. and then has to tell, okay, you can make this as a strength, you can reduce this in this way, and you have these strengths, you have to enhance them. Likewise, those proper direct feedbacks will supports the employees to grow. Then wage management, as I told you, giving proper basic salary, allowances, increments and all, that will motivate the employees and to be with the organization for a longer period of time. And employee relations, that is where these welcomes, like welfare programs comes, where to keep relations, like reduce the power distance between the CEO and the lower management employees, organizing field trips, organizing get-togethers, organizing star programs to have fun, breakfast meetings, to create those employee relations, visiting to like recreational supporting facilities, visiting to funerals, support them. Likewise, those can be like strengths for an organization. Then when it comes to marketing, obviously product price. If you have a low quality product but at a higher price, it's a weakness. So you have to think when you're pricing your product, whether this matches with the features and everything, and whether this is affordable and up to the quality. So setting price is really important in an affordable manner. And the product features, for an example, Apple, for a mobile phone or MacBook, they're having like features which are unimitatable. Then those features are like advanced features which supports people to do their work very easily. So those product features, having proper product features, will be a strength. Then market size or share. 60% of the biscuit market in Sri Lanka with whom? With Munchie. So Munchie is a great strength for them. Maliban was very like a former organization, but Munchie, with their product differentiation, their market researchers, packaging and identifying the markets, consumer preference, differences and all, they have like taken the market segmentations that are the resources of Munchie. They have used their marketing very well and earned the market share that is gone with most of the companies in Sri Lanka. And then about the distribution channel, whether you are directly selling or you have retailers uh, like small small shops, or whether you are like supermarkets, using supermarkets to distribute you, or you do wholesale, retail, direct door-to-door sales, anything. Then about the product differentiation, the different products in your line, like think about your doing baked products, like then starting from whole wheat breads to white breads to breads with vitamins, minerals, nuts. You can focus into significant section of buyers. People are vegan, so you can focus them. People are with health conscious parents, health conscious people, you can focus them. People who are on dieting, doing different diets, so you can focus them. Then you can have food for kids with nice colors and everything. So you have like not giving a similar product to everyone. You can have product differentiation to hunt the consumers with unique ingredients. So that becomes a strength of yours. Then the brand image, as I told you, think about the multinational companies established in Sri Lanka for the last 100 years, like Nestle, Unilever. Those are like fast movable consumer goods providers in Sri Lanka, but still, when it comes to a toothpaste, it's still Signal. Majority of elder people in our parents, like if you are going to visit a priest in a temple, Hamudro kenek balanna, if not uh, like to visit a person at the hospital, you buy a Nestomalt. If you have a headache, you look for Panadol. If you want to clean your like a dirty area, you look for Dettol. Likewise, there is a brand image for those products. So to soap, my mom still goes for Lux. Then to wash your clothes, it's Rinso. I'm not marketing these products, but this is a brand image still in Sri Lanka. Lux, Rani, then Panadol, Milo, Nestamalt, Anchor. These brand names still going there. In like, this is about the middle income people's houses. We look for those people. Like, I'm not telling about the higher income people. They have gone for different products, quality products, and with higher price. This is about the middle income majority in Sri Lanka goes for these products. The brand image, Coca-Cola. If you want a soda with color and sugar, go for Coca-Cola. If you want a kottu, you want Coca-Cola. If you want to have pizza, you want Coca-Cola. So these are the stories built up with those companies. That's the image. Then market research for everything. These people are like excessively involved in market research. They see what are the consumer preference changes, attitudinal changes. Do they have income? Can they buy this? And what are the changes happening in the environment? When there is an economy issue, then how the people consumable changes. So likewise, doing market research, if you have a proper market research team, then they'll be able to tap into this and identified markets and develop a new product. And the packaging, Milo has gone for recycle that sachet packet with a paper straw. I don't know about the user friendliness, but still it's a recyclable. Okay, it doesn't harm the environment. It doesn't count with pollution. So likewise, the people can think about packaging, biodegradable packagings, recyclable packagings. Sometimes people go like Ozo and all go with glass bottles, and Fabby's also going with glass bottles when they are dealing with some events and all. Likewise, people do. Okay, so packaging. So it's they you can do a market research and think which community needs these kind of things, and you can make it as a strength of yours. Then and another important thing is accounting and finance. You should know what the budget you have, what are the costs that you have incurred. You have to analyze your cost. You have to budget, it's a must. And you have to see whether you have take debtors and when to pay, how to pay. Is it effective? What has happened to Sri Lanka is we have taken lots of debt. There's no any debt management, and then the people who have taken the debts had no plan to pay the debt return. So what will happen is, this is the thing, we have to declare that we are a bankrupt country. Same thing happened to an organization. If you don't manage your cost, if you don't set your budgets, then you don't know about the management of debts. Then ultimately you don't know until the ship sinks. It's really important. And the taxation. The government can sue against you if you don't pay income tax. Okay, until you have a closer relationship with the government. It's a different story, but I'm telling about the normal business organizations. Okay, so you have to do like maintain the taxation documents because you do auditing. Sri Lanka have audit departments, and there are people involved in auditing. In university also, we have the internal audit department, and the government also audit the university. So you should have proper documentations, and you have to maintain it. And the Bursa and everywhere, the financial managers have to see the stuff and analyze this things and see the future, whether we can manage it or not. It's really important. If not, that will become a weakness and take you through a bankruptcy. Then about the research and development, this is mostly with uh, products rather services, but still, you know um, Microsoft company as well as Apple. That is the most best example that I can take for research and development, because they invest a lot on research and development. And Apple, they give a product before the other companies thinks. They launch a product. That means they do research so much time in advance. And at least when the Apple gives the product or launch the product, there is no any need has been created for such a product. Apple, what do they is, they are not responding to the changing needs of the customer. They are responding what? They are creating, rather responding, they are creating a need for customers. That's what the Apple is doing. Okay, so likewise, we need a proper research and development department. So you need cost and budgeting and all for this as well, to develop a new product before starting the competition. So that's why you need research to do, and whenever the consumer differences are there, you can predict we would need this kind of a product in the future, and before starting the competition, you can launch the product like Apple do. So not only that, quality of product, Apple is the best example. They are giving proper best quality products with high speed equipment, and I think infection of virus is very minimal. So we love Apple products. By myself, I'm not a person who is very preferred to Apple products. I'm not that much of like love, but it's the truth. People love to buy Apple products because it's user friendly and you can use it for a longer period of time, speedy, and less infected with viruses and all. Then about maintaining a research and development budget, having communications with the accounting and financing department, and ensure that you have a enough budget. If the company does not have enough budget, that's also a weakness, because with less budget, it will not be able to do a proper research or a development to an existing product. And then not only that, in HR is linked here, where the company has to take people who have technical knowledge as well as expertise. That means quality HR. If the company does not have that kind of a capacity to get quality HR and ensure that technical knowledge and expertise exist in the organization, that will be a weakness. The company will not be able to achieve a competitive advantage or to win over the competitors. Okay, so it's about the functional analysis. So it's when it comes to resource-based approach, it's about crafting a strategy where it accomplish a sustainable competitive advantage. This competitive advantage is a thing which cannot be imitated by the competitors. So the strategic resource, okay, will support the organization to have a sustainable competitive advantage. The strategic resource has to be rare, difficult to imitate, and non-substitutable. This is like for Apple and for Microsoft. They have a team of research and development with technical expertise and technical knowledge. So this has become a strategic resource for these two companies, where it's really difficult to imitate. That's why the other technological companies cannot still touch the path of these both companies. Okay, so if you have that strategic resource within your company, it's a golden opportunity. It's a golden ticket for you to achieve this competitive advantage. So this competitive advantage, or like the strategic resources, exist within the organization. That's why it's in the internal organization, internal environment. So that means it can be controlled by the firm. So like physical, your reputation, organizational, financial, human, intellectual, technological, everything can be transformed into a final product or service efficiently and effectively. If we take our university department of HRM, within we have like HR, human intellectual capacity. So the company internally we can control it. The lecturers provided for you has to like with proper knowledge, proper experience. So if the company see that there is some kind of weaknesses with few of lecturers, the company can control it where provide training programs and make them enhanced with much more knowledge and enhance the program. Okay, so it's like the internal resources. This strategic resource can be controlled by the organization since it exists in the internal environment. Since of that, these weaknesses in the internal environment or the weaknesses in those resources can reduce and make it a strength and can develop as a strategic resource. So these resources as well as the capabilities, like capabilities are where the company's ability to exploit is its resources, grab and make it something. Okay, so these capabilities and resources has to be like much more stable to make define the identity of the organization, and the competencies are there. Like these competencies are the things like competencies is like a cross-functional integration and coordination of the capabilities. That means the capabilities has been used by the organization cross-functionally, and coordination has to be gone on to make it like a strategic resource. So that's why these capabilities and competencies are highlighted in the resource-based approach. So a core competency is which is a central to the core of the business, where it's essential business එකට අත්‍යවශ්‍ය competency එකක් නම්. That means a capability which can be integrated. So it's which is central to the overall performance. It's a core competency. Distinctive means it's a unique competency, like has to be different from other forms. Like we can use Vero approach, Vero like value. Does it provide customer values? Okay, then is it rare? Is it unimitatable? And can it organization use to exploit the resources? If we have such kind of a competency, like innovation, might be a skill, creativity, design of the product, technology used in your product like Apple, and the name. So all these stuff are distinctive competencies of Apple, which cannot be imitated by others. Sometimes the customer satisfaction as well. You don't have that much of innovation skills and all, but ultimately customers are very satisfied with your product. Okay, then think about Coca-Cola. Still youth go for Coca-Cola. Even doctors and everyone says it's bad for your health because there is customer satisfaction. That is very unique and it's a core competency. Sorry, a distinctive competency of that organization. Customer satisfaction. Okay, so that's why Apple like capture the software market and also hardware, since they with their distinctive competencies. Okay, then what you can do is you can develop a strengths and a weaknesses profile. So a company engaged in the retail business, as we developed in the external environment for as opportunities and threats. So you can have a one profile like this. And what you have to do is you have to think on the strategic analysis as well. After identifying these opportunities and threats, weaknesses and opportunities and threats, weaknesses and strengths, what you have to do is this: external environment, opportunities, you have to exploit and expand. So you have to do strategies, you have to develop strategies to expand it. You identify the opportunity, now you have to have strategies to expand it. Threats, you should have strategies to avoid those. Okay, from opportunity, sometimes you might be able to avoid a threat. Then after doing an internal analysis, you now have identified what are the strengths and the weaknesses. Then what you can do is you have to have like prepare strategies to build the strengths, enhance the strengths. Then weaknesses, what you have to do is you have to try or develop strategies to resolve. If you can't resolve them, to reduce. So that's where the SWOT analysis finishes, finalizes. Merely identify the opportunities and threats, weaknesses and strengths will not finish your SWOT analysis. It's just doing analysis, but it has to be a strategic analysis. For to make that SWOT analysis strategic, what you have to do is this. Okay, so you have to do everything for a retail business. Identify the opportunities and threats, identify the weaknesses and strengths, and then do a develop strategies how to avoid and enhance the positives and reduce the negatives. So that is the end of internal environment. Thank you for listening. If you have any queries, you can forward. Thank you.